Hello everyone, welcome to episode 111 of Talk Wrestling here on NoDQ.com. Thank you all for watching last week. I do have to bring up one point before I start your questions today. I'm getting some emails about the beard, and I'm wondering, why haven't you shaved the beard? You were doing so well, Jeff. You were shaving the beard every time we saw you, and you look clean. Well, this has something to do with it right here, the Los Angeles Kings. I don't know if you guys are familiar with traditions in sports, but during playoff time, players will grow what's called a playoff beard. And it's like a superstition type thing, and they won't cut their hair, they won't trim their beards, they won't do anything until the playoffs are totally over and done with for that team. And the Kings have asked all their male fans, and maybe even the female fans, I don't even know about this, but the male fans for sure, to not trim their beards, grow the playoff beards until the Kings are out of the playoffs. So this is going to stay on as long as the Kings are in. If they make the Stanley Cup, it's going to get really gnarly really quick around here, just so you know. So if you guys don't like it, I'm sorry, but I'm adhering to the King's wishes and growing the playoff beard. So this is how it's going to be. I'm sorry if you don't like the beard, but it is what it is. All right? There we go. This is from Tyler Cure. Who do you think will be on NXT next season? I think Caval and some of the second-generation talent from FCW should be on. Well, Caval is definitely a talent that should be on national television. There's no doubt about that, low-key, for those of you that don't know. I think Brett DiBiase is probably a good candidate. You used to mention the second-generation superstars. Who else? Let me take a look at the FCW roster and see who I would put up there if I was them. Like I said, Brett DiBiase, Caval. Jonathan Fatu is another... Jonathan and Joshua Fatu, the tag team champions down in Florida. Richie Steamboat, Ricky's son. You know, all these guys. The other Colon family member, Orlando Colon, who's going under the name of Tito Neves, I guess. I don't know. Vance Archer's back down in Florida. He'd be an interesting choice, except he's already been on the roster, so that wouldn't really make sense. You know, any of those guys would be a good choice for the second season of NXT. Like I said, I honestly think that Ryan Danielson should win this season. But a lot of those guys have the potential. You know, that you've got, Wade Barrett, who is definitely going to come along really quick. You've got Heath Slater, who is making a name for himself. Justin Gabriel. Darren Young is being in a big storyline with CM Punk. All those guys are kind of coming along and really making a name for themselves on that show, as well as the other shows that they appear on when they do appear. So NXT is really, a groundbreaking show in my opinion, and I think the second season should feature the guys I mentioned for sure: Low-Key, the Fatus, DiBiase, and all those guys. This is from, pardon me for messing this up on Yahoo email, but DGration0 Music. I have no idea. I'm a music guy, and I was wondering who is the official composer for all the title intros and outros for WWE. It's a guy by the name of Jim, I believe it's Johnston. It could be Johnson, but I'm pretty sure it's Johnston. He's been their composer forever. He's one of those guys who, WWE found early on in their music making, and Jim Johnston, that's his name. Yeah, I thought it was Johnston. He's been composing for them since the 1980s, so, all those, 85, really. He's responsible for Hogan Getting Real American, I believe. He's responsible for Austin's song, and The Rock, and Triple H, and The Undertaker's various intros. Pardon me. He's incredible. He's got a gift for this. He's really awesome. That's the guy who does it for WWE. This is from DTragedy91. How come some wrestlers don't always have to change their ring name when they move from company to company? For example, Mr. Kennedy had to change his name to Mr. Anderson, but RV didn't have to change his name, or Hogan or Flair, not changing when they joined TNA. I realize this may be because they're wrestling legends, but hasn't WWE called them out on copyrights? Well, Rob Van Dam has owned the trademark on Rob Van Dam since, I believe, he joined ECW, and that's why he can use that. Same for Hogan when he started. He trademarked the name Hulk Hogan from Marvel. That's his name. That's what he uses. Ric Flair is an offshoot of his real name, but I'm pretty sure he trademarked the name Ric Flair. The guys that jump from company to company that are legends, like Randy Savage, when he left WWE and went to WWE, he was be able to be the Macho Man Randy Savage. He trademarked that name his own self. Most of the time nowadays, WWE trademarks their names, which is why Bryan Danielson is now Daniel Bryan. He came to Bryan Danielson because that's not a trademark name. You can't trademark somebody's own name. That's just not going to happen. But like when Diesel left and Razor Ramon left, they became Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, their real names, because WWE owned the Diesel Razor Ramon trademarks. Hence the fake Diesel, known as Kane, and the fake Razor Ramon, Big Titan. Most of the guys nowadays trademark their names, their own selves. That way WWE can't copyright on them, but a lot of the time WWE copyrights it before the guys do. That's why they changed their name, like Mr. Kennedy, Umaga, Val Venus, Orlando Jordan probably would have had to if he had a gimmick name. All these guys have to trademark their names before WWE does. This is from Chris Smith. Who do you think has been the best villain and the best heel faction of the WWE and TNA in the past 10 years or so? Personally, I reckon that Evolution was amazing, especially considering their legacy, no pun intended, and Triple H during this time was absolutely vile and a guy I absolutely hated. The best heel faction in the last 10 years is probably, like you said, Evolution. Evolution held all the belts. Triple H was world champion for a majority of their existence. Triple H was a guy that you love to hate. Triple H was the most vile competitor in WWE. He would do anything to win. He would do anything to survive and remain world champion. He was definitely up there with some of the most hated guys in the world. Ric Flair didn't, hurt that cause whatsoever. Ric Flair's the dirtiest player in the game. Nowadays, in recent years, damn it, Aaron, you son of a bitch. Caught in the middle of my answer. Nowadays, Randy Orton, until recently, has been a vile heel. Eddie Guerrero, when he turned heel just before he passed away, and was going after Rey Mysterio's family, that was pretty vile. CM Punk is, right up there with some of the most despicable human beings in wrestling. Not intentionally, of course. He's straight edge. He's cool. In TNA, they're all so many shades of gray. Nobody really hated or liked. They're all just kind of like, whatever. And that's Russo and Ferraro's writing style. That's just the way they operate. They're not going to have definitive heels or baby faces. They're just going to have everybody kind of walk the line, so to speak. Travis Gerber wonders why Macho Man and Elizabeth are in the WWE Hall of Fame. I know Macho Man and Vince are on the outs, but couldn't they put it aside for one night? I'd like to see both of them get inducted in the Hall of Fame, Randy and Elizabeth. And I think that if you put Elizabeth in, you have to put Randy in. You can't, induct one without the other, I don't think. They were so intertwined in their WWE careers that you cannot have one without the other in the Hall of Fame. So I think if they did choose to induct Elizabeth, they would have to reevaluate their whatever's going on between Randy Savage and WWE personally and say, hey, you know what? You contributed. You deserve a spot. Let's let you in. Because Liz definitely deserves it. Randy definitely deserves it. They're both Hall of Fame talents. And they deserve to be recognized by the WWE. This is from Benny Boy from the UK. With JR's tragic Bell's palsy seeming to get more and more severe, I personally can only see JR's career unfortunately ending soon. So I ask you, who do you think will replace him? Will Michael Cole overtake his place? Let's hope not. Will they bring in somebody completely new or give Matt Striker the push he deserves? Personally, I believe Matt Striker should be given the chance. What do you think? Well, on SmackDown right now, I believe it's Todd Grisham and Matt Striker are the announcers. Matt's a good color commentator, he's a good analyst. I don't see him being a good play-by-play guy. Michael Cole is the guy on Raw. He is going to be. Michael Cole and the King are the established team of the WWE announced teams. You're not going to see too much of a shake-up there. Hell, let me do it. I'll take JR's spot on SmackDown. I can do a great job. Wade Needham's a great color commentator and play-by-play guy, too. Both of us. We could raise some hell. I really don't see anybody stepping up and taking JR's spot. JR can't be replaced. JR is JR, and I don't see anybody replacing him. So I think the teams that are in place are going to stay together for a while. This one is from Keith Below. Will the Intercontinental title ever be defended at WrestleMania again? The last time I can remember was RVD beating Regal at WrestleMania 18. That is correct. The last time the IC title was defended at WrestleMania was when Van Dam defeated Regal in Toronto in 2002. More often than not, they put the IC title holder in the Money in the Bank match because that's where they want to put him. Me personally, I think the IC champion should be the number one contender to the World or WWE Championship, depending on what brand that title is on. But that's the way it should work. Doesn't mean it is the way it works because it's WWE. Personally, I think the Intercontinental Championship deserves more recognition and should be a title match on the main show. But, you know, that's my opinion, not WWE's opinion, obviously, or they would have had to defend it more often. They seem to want to put the Intercontinental Championship in the mid-card match. They want to put them, you know, not at the top of the spot, so to speak. Jose Garza, been wondering for a while now, why is John Morrison always put in a tag team? We know how talented he is, and I feel he should be feuding for the World Heavyweight Championship instead of the same old people fighting one another for the belt. He's a former ECW World Champion, 3-time Intercontinental Champion, 5-time Tag Team Champion with Mercury and Miz. All this in 5 years of his career, but for some reason they stick him with R-Truth and handed him a 3.5-minute loss at WrestleMania. Is this all to push R-Truth's popularity? Because I think stuffing him in a tag match is not worth it. I don't know why they keep putting Morrison in tag. I think I addressed this on an earlier show, maybe even on my Form Spring inbox. Morrison deserves all the credit in the world for being a tremendous athlete. He's a great champion, former Intercontinental and ECW champion. But he's also a 5-time tag champion. He has success in the tag team ranks, both with Joey Mercury and The Miz. He deserves it. And I think for him to be kind of pushed aside, put in tag team matches, is ridiculous. He deserves the main event spotlight. He should be in a Continental or US or even World or WWE champion. He's that good. And I think he deserves the time. This one is from Chosen Order. Who would you say is someone that came from the original ECW that went to WWE and never got the push they deserved? I would say it's Rhino. I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, he was always someone's lackey. Rhino's definitely one of those guys that came over from ECW and never got a tremendous push. Just incredible. Ended up being X-Pac's lackey for the longest time, and then he kind of fell into hardcore title obscurity. The only guy that really broke out from ECW and really stood out on his own was Rob Van Dam. Sandman, you know, came over during the one-night stand years and basically just kind of, you know, filled a spot wherever was needed. Taz, unfortunately, suffered from too many injuries and had to retire, but he could have been a great champion if they had, you know, he was ECW champion in WWE and had a great match with Triple H on SmackDown, defended it on Raw as well, and had a good run there for a little while, but injuries just caught up with him. Yeah, any of those guys really came over and didn't really spike Dudley. You know, ended up being kind of like the afterthought of the Dudleys' three-man team. The Dudleys came over and were main eventers. Dudleys came over and, you know, won the tag team titles and headlined WrestleMania, and basically they weren't the actual main event, but they were headliners for sure because their TLC matches were extraordinary with Edge and Christian and the Hardys. But very few ECW talent came to WWE and made it big. Cactus Jack's another one. You know, I mentioned Rob was the only one, but I forgot about Cactus. Cactus Jack, Mankind, Mick Foley. You know, he really stepped out into the spotlight and really came into his own after coming to WWE. Other than that, not a whole lot. This is from Sean Stefanski. If you could go back in time and change one thing that happened in wrestling, what would it be? Probably either the death of Eddie Guerrero or the death of Chris Benoit. Only because, you know, both of those had such a profound impact on me personally. Eddie dying really hit hard. You know, Jade and I both loved Eddie as much as anybody can love somebody in the wrestling business, as far as, you know, from a fan's point of view. And the fact that he died really shook us up. Benoit dying was hard because of the circumstances involved in that tragedy. And I would definitely wish that away. I wish that Benoit would have, not had his brain so chemically altered, and he would have gone to the Vengeance pay-per-view and won the ECW championship and been one of the few to hold their WWE and ECW title. I think the only one so far is Rob, Big Show, Vince, and I think that's it right now. So, to have Benoit in that, and Jack Swagger, to have Benoit in that class would have been awesome. Either one of those two I would have changed for sure. Alright, that's going to do it for Talk Wrestling this week. Thank you all again for watching, all 12,000 and counting, going on 13,000 almost. To get there by June 1st, 13,000 subscribers, we're hoping. Again, the playoff beard stays. If you don't like it, let me know on email, because I don't read YouTube comments, because you guys are spammers. Y'all are crazy. We'll see you next time on Talk Wrestling.